Top 20 Payable Accounts Interview Questions and Answers. Mastering accounts payable is crucial for finance roles. These top 20 interview questions and answers will help you confidently showcase your skills and land the job. 1. What is accounts payable? Accounts payable, AP, refers to the money a business owes to its suppliers or vendors for goods and services received but not yet paid for. It represents a liability on the company's balance sheet and is part of the working capital management. Efficient AP processes ensure timely payments, maintain good vendor relationships, and avoid late fees. The AP team handles invoice verification, approvals, and payment processing. Maintaining accurate and timely records of payables is essential for budgeting, financial reporting, and cash flow management. AP also supports compliance with tax regulations and internal financial controls. 2. What is the difference between accounts payable and accounts receivable? Accounts payable, AP, is the money a company owes to suppliers for purchases made on credit, recorded as a liability. In contrast, accounts receivable, AR, is the money owed to the company by customers for goods or services delivered, recorded as an asset. AP involves outgoing payments, while AR deals with incoming revenue. Managing both efficiently is essential for maintaining cash flow and financial health. While AP focuses on vendor payments and expense management, AR concentrates on billing, collections, and customer payments. Both functions are crucial for a company's operational efficiency and working capital optimization. 3. What is the full cycle of accounts payable? The full cycle of accounts payable includes all steps from receiving a vendor invoice to making the final payment. It begins with the purchase order, followed by receiving goods or services, invoice receipt, and three-way matching, PO, receipt, and invoice. The invoice is then reviewed, coded to the appropriate expense account, and approved for payment. Once approved, it's scheduled for payment based on due dates and terms. After payment is processed, the transaction is recorded, and vendor statements are reconciled regularly. This cycle helps maintain financial accuracy, control costs, and build strong supplier relationships. 4. How do you handle invoice discrepancies? When I encounter an invoice discrepancy, such as price, quantity, or product mismatch, I start by comparing the invoice to the purchase order and goods receipt. If differences are found, I communicate promptly with the vendor and the internal department involved. I document the issue and hold payment until it's resolved. If needed, I request a revised invoice or issue a debit/credit note. Clear communication, thorough documentation, and strict adherence to company policies ensure discrepancies are resolved quickly and accurately. This approach helps avoid incorrect payments and maintains trust with vendors. 5. What steps do you take before processing an invoice for payment? Before processing an invoice, I verify that it matches the purchase order and the receiving report. This is the three-way match. I check that the vendor details, invoice date, amounts, and payment terms are accurate. I ensure the goods or services were received and approved by the respective department. Then, I code the invoice to the correct general ledger account and seek necessary internal approvals. Once verified and approved, I schedule the payment according to the due date and the company's payment cycle. These steps help ensure accuracy, prevent fraud, and maintain good vendor relationships. 6. How do you manage vendor relationships? I manage vendor relationships through clear communication, timely payments, and responsiveness to concerns. I ensure vendors are paid accurately and on time, which builds trust and reliability. If issues arise, such as invoice disputes or delivery delays, I address them professionally and collaboratively. I also conduct regular vendor statement reconciliations to resolve any discrepancies. Maintaining up-to-date vendor records and being transparent about payment terms helps reduce misunderstandings. When necessary, I negotiate terms or request extensions based on cash flow. A respectful and organized approach strengthens vendor partnerships and supports the company's procurement and operational goals. 7. What is a three-way match in accounts payable? A three-way match is a control process used to verify that the details on the purchase order, PO, goods receipt, or receiving report, and the vendor's invoice all align before payment is approved. This ensures that the quantity and price of items ordered match what was received and what the vendor is billing for. The match confirms that the purchase was authorized, the goods were delivered, and the invoice is accurate. This method helps prevent overpayments, duplicate payments, and fraud. It is a critical step in maintaining accuracy and control in the accounts payable cycle. 8. How do you prevent duplicate payments? To prevent duplicate payments, I follow a strict verification process. I check for duplicate invoice numbers, dates, and amounts before processing. Our accounting system flags duplicates automatically, but I also manually review vendor records. Using centralized invoice entry and avoiding manual data reentry also reduces errors. I ensure each invoice has proper supporting documentation and that it hasn't already been paid. Reconciling vendor statements regularly helps detect discrepancies early. Additionally, maintaining clear communication with vendors about invoicing requirements further minimizes risk. These steps ensure that the company's funds are used responsibly and payment errors are avoided. 9. What accounting software are you familiar with? I have experience using several accounting software systems including SAP, Oracle, QuickBooks, and Microsoft Dynamics. In SAP and Oracle, I've worked extensively with invoice entry, vendor management, and payment processing modules. With QuickBooks, I've managed smaller-scale accounts payable tasks such as entering bills, issuing payments, and reconciling statements. I am also comfortable using Excel for data analysis and reconciliations. I'm a quick learner and can adapt to new platforms easily. My familiarity with these systems enables me to work efficiently, maintain accurate financial records, and support automation and reporting tasks within the accounts payable function. 10. How do you ensure accuracy and compliance in your work? I ensure accuracy and compliance by following established procedures, performing thorough checks, and maintaining proper documentation. I verify all invoice details, perform three-way matches, and confirm approvals before processing payments. I stay updated on company policies and regulatory requirements, including tax codes and audit guidelines. Regular reconciliations and internal audits help catch errors early. I also use accounting software tools that flag inconsistencies and support tracking. When in doubt, I consult with supervisors or compliance officers. Maintaining organized records and upholding ethical standards are essential for financial integrity and audit readiness. 11. What is an aging report in accounts payable? An aging report in accounts payable is a financial document that categorizes outstanding vendor invoices based on the length of time they've been unpaid. Typically, it's divided into periods such as 0 to 30 days, 31 to 60 days, 61 to 90 days, and over 90 days. This report helps track due and overdue payments, manage cash flow, and prioritize payables. It also serves as a tool for identifying potential issues with vendor terms or delays in payment processing. Regularly reviewing the aging report helps avoid late fees, maintain strong vendor relationships, and ensure the company's liabilities are properly managed and reported. 12. How do you prioritize payments when cash is limited? When cash is limited, I prioritize payments based on factors such as due dates, vendor terms, discounts offered, and criticality of the service or goods provided. I ensure that legally binding and high-priority payments like utilities or key suppliers are handled first to avoid disruptions. I also evaluate early payment discount opportunities and balance them with cash availability. Communication is crucial, so I proactively contact vendors to request extensions or negotiate terms when necessary. Transparency with management about payment priorities helps align decisions with broader financial goals. This careful approach preserves relationships and prevents penalties or service interruptions. 13. Describe your experience with processing large volumes of invoices. In my previous role, I processed hundreds of invoices weekly using an ERP system like SAP. I maintained accuracy by organizing tasks by due dates and using automated tools for data entry and verification. I ensured each invoice had a corresponding PO and receipt and followed up promptly on missing documentation. By using batch processing and automated approval workflows, I reduced manual effort and increased efficiency. I also handled urgent and exception invoices without disrupting the overall flow. My attention to detail and time management allowed me to maintain compliance and accuracy even under high-volume workloads. 14. How do you handle late payments or payment disputes? When dealing with late payments or disputes, I first investigate the issue by reviewing supporting documents such as the invoice, purchase order, and goods receipt. If the error lies internally, I expedite resolution by coordinating with the appropriate team. For vendor-related issues, I contact them to clarify concerns and seek mutual understanding. I document all communications and actions taken. For legitimate delays, I negotiate revised payment terms. My goal is always to resolve issues respectfully and efficiently, maintaining positive vendor relationships while protecting the company's financial integrity. Timely, clear communication is key to successful dispute resolution. 15. Can you explain debit and credit entries in accounts payable? In accounts payable, a credit entry increases the liability. This happens when an invoice is recorded, showing money the company owes. For example, entering an invoice from a vendor credits the accounts payable account. A debit entry, on the other hand, reduces the liability. This happens when a payment is made or a credit memo is applied. For example, when a company pays a vendor, the AP account is debited. These entries help maintain accurate financial records and ensure the balance sheet reflects current obligations. Understanding the double entry system is essential for accurate bookkeeping and financial reporting. 16. What is your experience with 1099 forms and tax reporting? I've handled 1099 tax reporting by ensuring vendors are properly classified and their W-9 forms are on file. Throughout the year, I track payments to independent contractors and other 1,099 eligible vendors. At year-end, I review vendor records to confirm if they meet the IRS reporting threshold, typically $600 or more, then prepare and issue 1099 forms using accounting software. I double-check taxpayer identification numbers, TINs, and payment amounts to prevent IRS rejections. Accuracy is critical, so I follow IRS guidelines closely and meet all filing deadlines. This helps the company maintain tax compliance and avoid penalties. 17. How do you reconcile vendor statements? To reconcile vendor statements, I compare the vendor's statement of account with our internal records. I check for missing invoices, duplicate payments, or outstanding credits. If any discrepancies arise, I request missing documents or clarify with the vendor. I ensure all invoices have been recorded correctly and payments have been applied to the right transactions. I also verify open balances and investigate any old or unmatched items. Regular reconciliation not only ensures accurate AP records but also strengthens vendor trust. It's a proactive way to catch and correct issues early, supporting clean month-end and year-end closings. 18. Have you ever identified a fraud risk in the payable process? Yes, in a previous role, I noticed an unusual duplicate invoice with a slightly altered invoice number. It was flagged during a three-way match. I paused the payment and escalated the issue. Upon further review, it appeared to be an attempt to duplicate payment to a vendor. I worked with the finance team to update internal controls, including strengthening invoice approval workflows and vendor verification protocols. This incident highlighted the importance of vigilance, segregation of duties, and internal audits. Preventing fraud requires a mix of technology, training, and attention to detail in the accounts payable process. 19. How do you maintain confidentiality with financial data? Maintaining confidentiality is essential in accounts payable, as I regularly handle sensitive vendor, bank, and payment information. I follow company policies and data protection standards by securing login credentials, using encrypted systems, and avoiding sharing information through unsecured channels. I do not discuss financial details with unauthorized personnel and always store physical and digital records securely. I'm also cautious when handling emails, attachments, and invoice data. When working with sensitive reports or audit documentation, I ensure proper access controls are in place. Trust and discretion are key to preserving the company's financial integrity and reputation. 20. Describe a challenging AP issue you resolved and how. In one role, a vendor claimed non-payment on a large invoice, despite our system showing it had been paid. I researched the transaction and discovered the payment had been applied to the wrong invoice due to a keying error. I immediately contacted the vendor, explained the situation, and worked with our bank to reallocate the payment correctly. I also updated our internal procedures to include an additional verification step for large payments. The vendor appreciated our transparency and quick resolution. This experience emphasized the importance of communication, attention to detail, and process improvement in accounts payable. With these top 20 accounts payable questions and answers, you're well prepared to impress in your interview. Stay confident, stay focused, and good luck on your career journey.